I'm going to change this up and I'm going to just walk around rather than be at the front because it's so squished. There's no point in doing it up there, so I'm just going to walk around and do this. Not at the moment. You will need them eventually. You are going to need them, but we shouldn't need them now. Okay, so so I've got you for an hour and 15 minutes, and I'll explain it as we kind of go along, but I want you to watch this first and then we'll get started.
Here we are, 2013. We all depend on technology to communicate, to bank, and none of us know how to read and write code.
The first program I wrote asked things like, what's your favorite color? Or how old are you?
I wrote a program to play tic-tac-toe.
I first learned how to make a green circle and a red square appear on the screen.
You're just trying to make something, trying to transfer something from your mind to the computer or to a tablet. It's an experience.
The whole limit in the system is just that there just aren't enough people who are trained and have these skills today.
The programmers of tomorrow are the wizards of the future. You know, you're going to look like you have magic powers compared to everybody else.
Great coders are today's rock stars. That's it.
Alright, so the good news is, by the end of this session, you will all have made your very first game. I know some of you are looking at me a bit skeptically, but I promise you, you will be able to. You're going to make your very first game, and I know this because essentially, anyone can code, and I'm going to show you how that's possible. Now, before we get into it, I know that we've just had lunch. I know that the only thing keeping us from going home is me and coding. So I'm very well aware that I'm going to try and keep this relevant to what you guys are doing in your classrooms. And I'm even going to try and hopefully link this back to your programs and the syllabus as a whole. So not only are we going to try to do that, but I'm going to try and help you out with a couple of things and ways to integrate it. Okay, so but first, before we begin, when I say the word coding or coders, let's face it, most of us go straight to this, or this, or even that. Right? I'm very well aware of the stereotypes. I myself you still get headaches by looking at that left-hand image, and I do it a lot. But what if I could tell you that coding wasn't just that? What if I could show you this? This is what's called Blockly. And this is a visual programming language developed by Google. And the idea of it is that we take blocks and we snap them together, linking them together, much like a recipe that you would follow in a cookbook. We're creating the steps in very simple format, what we need to do and what we're going to do. The good thing about this is that it's open source, and what that means is that people who are a lot smarter than me are making tools that will make our lives a lot easier when we're in the classrooms and things like that. Speaking of this guy though, I do have a video to show you about some coders who I've had the privilege of meeting over this past year.
We got to build them from scratch with having the parts and go through it step by step, and then getting to learn the basics and then just being able to do what we wanted.
Enjoying that you can program them and see them like function properly.
Because it was really fun trying out new things and trying to figure out the right thing, although it could get frustrating sometimes.
I really loved being creative with the design, and
I thought that I really loved it when we got to measure things. I don't know why, but I really loved it when we measured things. Like we measured spaces using the mBot.
And how these things, like how the robots actually work, because I never knew like such thing could do like that much work in one. Like just like a click of like a laptop can make a whole difference to a robot.
Smart when you train, like when you code the mBot, how smart it can be, and when you go wrong with it, it can be a bit stupid.
I kind of found it hard working with other people because we all had like different views on things, and like people wanted to do this and I wanted to do that.
Challenging making the mBot do what we want to do, because I didn't have any knowledge before about coding or anything.
The most frustrating thing I found was actually a bit of the code, because sometimes it would go right and sometimes you find out the code works, you swap it around and then the modes are wrong.
When you're coding, it's hard to get the exact code.
When you'd mess up, you'd have to re-go the whole code and look for the parts that you messed up.
You're not going to get first try, so always trial and error.
Main skill is patience.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Mr. Lentic said, so you gotta be patient with these things. And I feel like I've really sort of improved my patience with this.
Mathematics, measuring, teamwork a lot of teamwork.
Maybe if we had to decide on something, and then we had arguments about if we wanted to like turn or spin around.
Did you get frustrated?
Yes, a lot.
We got a bit frustrated sometimes when Evie went, like when with the dance, when she went out, so we had to like take a minute and try and work it out again. So
we had to like bounce back to our like from like fighting or like arguing, and like I think that we did do that and like have a discussion about like how we should like, not everything's gonna turn out the way you want it to. We all have to like agree on this and do this together as a group, because not everything's gonna turn out the way you want it.
Well, I've learned how to be a better group person, and it was just fun.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I recommend everyone should learn to code.
Because it's fun and you could learn like if you're working on some ideas like programming or something to move like in the future.
Most of the world now is revolving around technology, and without code, certain things wouldn't be possible.
Probably the funnest thing to do than all the other subjects. You're building your confidence to program your own robot without any help, and then you can make whatever code you want.
Well, it's a skill that you could use in your life.
It's really fun, it's educational.
It's really enjoyable and you use your brain.
You learn way more skills, like when we did the maids, we learned more about other people,
agreeing with stuff and what
and
other
the way
people like.
and the way they work with other people, and it was fun.
Yeah, it was really programming this was really fun.
It's a good skill to learn, so in the future, and it's also fun to do.
I think it's a really like essential thing that like school really needs to teach people, because I think that if we teach kids how to code, we'll have a better future. Try to code because it's fun.
If you try, then nothing is impossible. Keep trying and you will be able to learn soon.
Use your imagination, because your imagination loses when you get older.
Give it a try, because it's a very fun learning experience.
Even if you don't think you can, it's always good to try. Like, honestly, I didn't think I could ever do this before I ever did it. It's like you have to just push forward and just do it sometimes.
If you really want to, you just try. There's no failing, there's just error, and then you improve on what you failed on. Just keep trying and give it all.
Keep on trying and do your best.
Just
don't give up.
Yeah, don't give up. The first time I tried to code, I got everything wrong, but I kept on trying, and now I really like it. It's really fun.
Just a couple steps can help you like an immense amount, and yeah, just keep on going and going and going no matter what.
You believe more and more that you can make your dreams come true. And that is why I think that if everyone takes the time to code, but they don't believe in themselves, it's okay if you fail the first couple of 100 times, but if you keep on working and believing, you'll finally get to the top of the finish line.
That's great.
Right, so most of you all know, and should all know, that we have the mBots at the school, and that the kids have been, over the past, Year 5 and Year 7 students over the past term have been working with these things. Now, you probably don't know, but so these have a line follower, a ultrasonic sensor on the front, which detects objects. It has a light sensor on the top. It has motors to control the wheels, and that's all controlled by the Blockly style of code that I showed you before. The good thing about Blockly is it translates a whole bunch of languages, and you don't need to actually get into the technicals of that stuff. So now that we've just covered a quick about what coding and what we're going to be having a look at today, we're going to get into the three big questions, obviously, that a lot of you teachers are going to have. First one being, well, why? Why should we code in schools? Well, there's three reasons that I know of, and a lot of these were touched on by kids. The first one is that it's engaging. The second one is that it's relevant to what they currently use and having in today, and it's also fun. A lot of the kids made that frustrating, yes, but fun at the same point in time. The kids, they have technology from the day they can see the screen, essentially. My daughter is 8 months and already knows my iPhone, and she knows that if I take it out of my case, she knows the case isn't the iPhone, she wants the screen, and she knows. So a really good quote that I've heard from a student who was in Year 8 at Mount Carmel said, "Children of today don't know a world that isn't connected." They don't know that. That is their world, and that's what they are now introduced to. And it's up to us as educators to provide them with lessons and things that they understand. We have to kind of try and keep up. It's hard, and we don't have a lot of time, I know, but it's something we've got to try and do. Now, the what, which we ask the kids, like what skills do they actually use and learn whilst they're coding or working with the robots? The first one, obviously, is problem solving. Second one, I can find communication. Third one is critical thinking, and the fourth is patience. At the end of the day, coders are problem solvers. That's all they do. They're there to essentially fix a problem that you may have, and they do this by talking to the people that have the issue. They figure out what they need to do, what the issue is, and the best way to go about it. They use their critical thinking to come up with a solution, and then the first solution, they have to redesign the process. They have to think about what can I do, what can I use, what are the best ways of using the tools, and obviously with patience, especially in coding, the first time it's probably not going to work, and the second and probably the third, but you've got to keep at it. And the feeling of joy that you get when you actually see your code working, a lot of the kids, when they got their robots to actually do what they wanted it to do, we saw high fives, fist pumps, like they were really pumped to get their robots going. The third question, and I think this is probably one of the most important ones for you as educators, is how can I implement this into what I'm currently doing? Now, whilst I was doing some research and doing stuff like that, I was talking to my cousin, Kate, who's a teacher at St. Thomas More, and she told me that teachers are time poor in their programming, and you would like to be able to link your coding, if you were to do it, into the programs you're already running, rather than redesigning the whole thing from scratch. I think that's really important. So, given that, I'd like to show you a couple of examples of what I think you guys could do to bring it into the syllabus and your programs and things that you already have made. So let's start off with stage 1, working technology. So I went to the syllabus website just to have a look and see what we could come up with. And one of the first ones that we have is, so for the stage 1, with working with technology, with everyday tools, materials and equipment, and techniques to produce solutions that respond to identified needs and wants. Now this is practically saying exactly what coding is. That's what they do. They use the tools and the equipment to produce a solution. Now I'd like to show you this. Who here has heard of Osmo? You're about to.
blocks to plan our consolidators. Watch this.
So that's what's called Osmo. Now Osmo, if you've actually ever been to the Campbelltown office for the CEO, they've actually got a couple of these set up. But it actually links into the iPad, and up the top there you can see the little red thing. It actually has a mirror over the top of its camera. So it can actually look straight down, and then the blocks that you have, you just put in front of the camera, and then it picks up that these are what I'm actually looking at, and these are my steps of the code that then translates directly into the game. Something like this kids love because it's working with their hands rather than having to click and drag, rather than having to actually worry about their computers. You can just twist knobs, press the little play button. Once you actually press that little play button, the mirror on the camera recognizes that someone pressed the play button, and then it just runs whatever they made. So this is perhaps something which you can have a look into for your code. Now to move on to another example, the stage 3 working with technology. Pretty much, because he's pretty much been doing this. But you implement a design process with a range of tools, and then you produce a solution to address the design criteria. So obviously with the stage 3, they were creating mazes, which is one of the examples I had here. And the kids had to create a maze and get the robot through the maze. So they had to design it, they had to make the robot work, they had to get it through, they actually had to make the maze. And so this is something that we can implement into your design process. But let's think a little bit outside of the box. I know that you do a products in stage 3. So one of the ideas when I was thinking about this is that the mBots themselves actually don't come pre-made, they have to be made. So why not take your products subject and why not actually turn it into an assembly line that the kids have to create the robots to then be able to use them as part of their next. So this is an example of kids doing something simple. As you can see, they have assembly line creating the robots. Now obviously we wouldn't want them to do it that fast, but you could come up with something using the equipment that we have at the school. You could easily get the kids to an assembly line sort of thing with the robot to get it created, which then links into the next subject of, well, now we're going to use these things that we've created to go on to the next subject. So that's a couple of ideas and examples of what you could do. I mean, I'm more than happy to be here to be like a springboard if you have any ideas that you would like to go through. But we're going to move on to the how and what I'm calling how and what 2.0. So we've answered the how do we put it into the syllabus and the what do they actually use. Now it's your turn. How do you code and what could you use to bring it to the classrooms? Well, I'm going to show you something which is called the Hour of Code, and this is an initiative from the United States that's now international by a company called code.org.
Okay, now you're gonna press run. This is so cool!
Hour of Code.
The Hour of Code.
Todos lo pueden hacer.
Ya programy a code. من 42 خط کد داشتم.
Your teacher says you guys are into it.
We are. It's very awesome.
Students around the world had an hour of code today. It's part of a global movement to show kids what it takes to create the programs and apps they spend so much time using.
The largest education events in history.
Organizers set what they called an ambitious goal of reaching 10 million students this week. Almost 15 million signed up.
This week, I'm proud to join the students, teachers, businesses, and nonprofit organizations taking new steps to support computer science in America's schools.
You guys are already getting a head start on taking over the world.
I got it.
They've been so excited about it.
Oh my gosh, it's working. I did it right.
They don't even have to be a computer science engineer. Maybe they want to do something else. But in our world, this is going to be the basis for everything that we do.
Move. Semicolon.
Look what I did.
It's so beautiful.
When you're building a program, you have to think outside of the box.
If you can change technology, you can change the world.
I challenge girls in every single country to learn 1 hour of code.
Every district should do, every district can do it.
Please help us get the hour of code to every school and every classroom and every child.
And my school's doing it.
Alright, so the hour of code. This is the part where you're going to need your laptops. But now I'm about to bring and make sure everyone gets one of these. So what I have done is I have already set up. Any other questions? Any other thoughts, comments, queries, complaints, whatever? Big boy, I can take it all. No, other than that, like I said, I don't want to keep you here, but I would like, if you have any thoughts about ways that you can implement this into your classes, maybe things that maybe are a bit outside of the box, with the mBots themselves, with that code.website that you were using. As you said, Lauren, the idea of maybe making your own custom characters is a really good idea. I'm going to find out more about that for you. But please, come and see me. Anyway, that's it. That's all I have.